Live from the epicenter of independent cinema, it's Film Stuffs with your host, Jake S. Weisman. Tonight's guest, radio host and producer, Tom Hush. With me, the original brain bug from Starship Troopers, Jack Quint. Let's start the show!
What's happening, film dorks? I'm Jake S. Weisman. Welcome to Film Stuffs Live. I love that opener. I always wanted to know. I don't watch it, and I wonder what Jack is going to say every single week, and that was I like that one. What is going on? It's been a week, one full week. We are here. We are doing our show, and I am excited to be back. Today, so excited about our guest, Tom Hush. I can talk about movies with Tom Hush forever. What's happening, Mom? We got Mom here. I'm happy about that. So, what are the headlines? Headlines. ArcLight Theater closes. What's up with that? Across the entire country, no more ArcLight. What does that mean for us? Sony and Netflix have a deal now. It looks like Sony, I love you too, Mom. It looks like Sony is, what's Sony doing? Has an exclusive distribution deal with Netflix now. So I don't know how long that window is, but Sony movies proper, like Venom and whatever comes out, will be coming out exclusively to Netflix. We'll see if that's a 2-month window, 3-month window. I don't know. And also WB is threatening us by saying they will go back to regular distribution 2022. So we'll see how that works. We got to follow the money. Jack. Oh,
hello.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing okay, thanks. A little bit tired. I've been moving for the past month, so I'm settling into my new apartment in Astoria here in Queens.
I was wondering, I didn't want to put you on the spot, but this is the question that I have for you. What is, so far, the biggest difference between living in Brooklyn and living in Queens?
Oh, I was in Harlem before.
Well, my bad, Harlem.
No, that's okay. Harlem's great. It was really cool living there for 7 years, but I also lived right by the hospital, so there's just a lot of ambulances going
loud.
by.
I used to live next to a bus terminal.
Yeah, I mean, I hear the subway rattling the building all the time. I mean, before I was up on the 6th floor, now I'm on the 1st floor, so you can really just kind of feel the shake, but you could feel it before, too. That's just comes with the territory.
The town I live in now is so quiet. We talk about how quiet it is all the time, and there are times that I miss hearing people screaming outside of the window. And every time people are screaming, it's just like college kids having a good time or something. But I always turn off the TV and try and listen because I just miss hearing people yell at each other on the sidewalk outside my apartment.
What a weird thing to say. I miss hearing people screaming.
It's, sometimes it's like going on the train. You hear people just like screaming at each other, but it sounds like music every once in a while. As long as you feel safe,
Yeah. If it's happening over there and you can catch the little motifs of it. I guess the biggest difference, though, is that there's just a little bit more neighborhoodly stuff happening. There's more markets and things in this area.
Nice.
And a really wide variety of stuff. There's different Euro markets, a lot of Greek stuff, and Vietnamese, Latino stuff, too. It's delicious. And, also throw a stone anywhere and hit a bakery. So
nice.
That's great.
Nice. That's the one thing about Chicago, man. Can't find a good bagel anywhere. Maybe Tom will fix me on that one, but the fact is I lived there for so long, still can't find a damn bagel.
Oh man, the quest for the endless bagel, the lost bagel.
That's very deep because bagels are a ring and they keep going. It's like Joseph Campbell. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, it's
exactly the hero's journey, Jack.
We're wrapping up political theory and poli-sci here with bagel talk. Although, now that we're talking about it, I do have a brilliant idea for a bagel, so if anyone is going to steal this, fuck you. But kettle bagels, that's a thing, like boil it kettle style. I mean, that's already a thing. But what about kettle corn bagels?
I feel like if anyone would figure that out, it would be Chicago.
Chicago.
You walk down
Don't
State
let me
Street and it
down.
just smells like popcorn.
Brilliant. Let's do it. We need to
Okay.
make kettle corn bagels.
Well, let's get Tom in on this conversation. So Tom, oh, thank you, Bones. Hey, Tom.
Hello, Tom.
Oh, you're muted.
Oh, hey, there we
Muted.
go.
There he
Hey,
is.
ho.
Hello.
Too professional for us, man.
I know. It's I got this whole damn thing going on.
Tom, I know you from the movie theater.
Yes.
So we've known each other for a few years now, right?
Yeah, because I started there in October of 2016. It was the third job I had picked up out of college. And you guys were nice enough to hire me, even though, according to a manager we both know, when I failed my first interview. My first interview was terrible. Apparently.
Yeah, to be fair, I had nothing to do with your
I know.
your hiring process. That was before I had any of that kind of power.
Right, but my first interview, I had no personality, and then in my second interview, I had so little to lose that I just went for broke, and it turned out pretty well. And I ended up working with you guys for about 2.5 years.
That's
2.5
pretty
years, yeah.
pretty solid. That's so funny. Do you remember what your first movie was?
I know one of the big ones was the first big premiere that we had that I was working for was Rogue One, that Star Wars one.
Okay.
I remember being really like, oh wow, we have this big movie here. I think we're still doing the comedy film festival thing at that time.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
Yeah, and Jane Lynch was there. I never saw head or tail of her, but
I saw at the top
She's
of
everywhere.
Yeah, saw the top of Jane Lynch's head.
Yeah.
I got to shake Andy Kindler's hand that night. That was fun.
Really?
Andy Kindler was there, and everyone was staring at Jane Lynch, and Hillary can attest. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna meet Andy Kindler."
Oh yeah, so that
Very
that's
wicked.
what I think that was the first big one was Rogue One, and then we saw many different wild premieres together. None more wild than Black Panther, I would say.
That's true.
I would definitely put Beauty and the Beast up there, which was a movie that was not hot in its first weekend, and then all of a sudden, I remember the second weekend was just totally ridiculous. People were literally sitting on the floor to see a remake of like a 25 to 30-year-old movie. I just couldn't believe it.
I have Beauty and the Beast stories that I don't know when I'm going to be able to share them since our moms all watch show.
Yeah.
But I remember the premiere of Beauty and the Beast. There was a lot of people there, and I was playing bouncer that night.
Yeah.
We love our moms, and we want to thank them for watching, and we want to thank all you for watching too. And just to let you all know, you can watch in a variety of ways here we're on StreamYard, but you may be on YouTube, you may be on Facebook, and you may be on Twitch. So you can go to any one of those sites, and you can go to jellyrollchicago.com and subscribe.
Jack, you're such a pro.
That's why I'm here. Now I have to go put out a fire on the stove, so I'll leave you two guys to it.
Thanks,
Sweet.
Jack. We'll talk to you soon. Oh my goodness. All right, buddy. Like, it's so easy. It's so easy to talk to you. Let's just do dead air now. Let's just stare at each other lovingly and enjoy our company.
Yeah. Well, because I know I'll throw this out there. I mean, because I left the theater in 2019 to go full time at the radio station, and it really felt like a chapter had closed. Even though it'd only been 2.5 years, it's not disordinate amount of time, but I was really bummed. I was really bummed not to be working in some facet of the industry anymore. And it was a really great time. It was a really, really great time working at the old 400.
Yeah, the theater has a strange pull. I can definitely attribute it to ghosts, but I can also attribute it to the neighborhood and the people that I worked with. But people just didn't. Everyone wanted to quit, but no one wanted to quit.
Oh my God! Yeah.
And if anyone quit, there'd be this kind of like, oh, it'd be really nice to go back, but also I'm not going back. So it's very, especially after working stuff like Black Panther, when you just get into the trenches with people. And man, there's so much. And now all my friends from the theater have kind of left Chicago, which is so interesting. You're still in Chicago though, right?
Yep, still in Chicago.
You holding down Uptown?
Yeah, holding down Uptown through many changes.
That's what I keep hearing, is that Uptown is like insane now.
It really is. There's so much going on. I mean, we've been waiting forever for the Uptown Theater to get a revival, which if you're a fan of old movie houses, old movie palaces, this bygone era of movie palaces, it's exciting to see it get revived. Now, it's not going to be revived as a movie palace, but it is going to be a performing arts theater.
Are they proper doing it? They are actually finally doing it?
Yeah, there's money in there. There's money involved. There's deeds changing hands. No one's really sure what's happening though. It's kind of just all over the place.
Wow. For those who don't know about the Uptown, I was obsessed with this theater for a very long time. It is enormous, and the corner, the where this theater is right next to the Green Mill. It's right next to what is it? The Riv, and
Riv, and down the street from the Aragon.
From the Aragon, because I saw Ween at the Aragon, I saw Tenacious D at the Aragon. Thanks, Mom. And so this corner, and it's such an interesting spot, but it used to be where like Al Capone hung out. It was the Times Square of Chicago back in the 1920s.
Yeah.
And they built this theater. This theater, what is it? 3,500 seats and a lobby built for 7,000 so that everyone who's going in can come out. And when it was built, it was state of the art. There was a radio station that was attached to the theater that was in the hotel across the street. And it was all like one big complex. They had things like the ladies' rooms had windows so that if you were watching a movie and you had to go take care of the baby, you could still watch the movie. Like, there's so many stories about the Uptown. Last time I checked, there was one ex-cop. Oh, Jack, you're a pro. There's one ex-cop that would walk the theater to make sure that the pipes didn't bust, and that the last time anyone went, like you said, it wasn't for movies, it was for the Grateful Dead or Bob Marley or something like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Prince played the Uptown Theater at one point, because it was just one of those venues, and as you put it, Uptown was the Times Square of Chicago. It was the entertainment district. Even my grandparents used to go dance at the Aragon Ballroom when it was literally a ballroom and not just a place to go see Sonic Youth in the 90s. So it's a really
worst acoustics.
Yeah, right. And now it's a fire hazard. You can't put anybody in there.
It's so beautiful and so awful. When we saw Tenacious D, just an aside, who's the band who Urge Overkill opened for Tenacious D, and they played for a whole hour. They played for a full hour on the hottest day of the year, and they were the second act out of 3.
I mean, for a pretty niche band whose greatest claim to fame was getting their version of "Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon" into Pulp Fiction, and
they played that 2/3 of the way through. So like they still kept going.
Yeah.
The thing about that is that Urge Overkill is apparently Jack Black's favorite band. So he came to Chicago and was like, "You guys are playing," and everyone's like, "We're dehydrated. Can you play tribute?"
Yeah, please. Oh my goodness.
The Uptown. I've always wanted to go. So then the people that own Jam Productions, right, who owns like every venue, not hyperbolically, like they own every venue in Chicago.
No, they own a ton. Yeah.
Because plus the ones that we already mentioned, they did the Vic they own, and Lincoln Hall, I think, is part of them. I'm sure Shuba's I think it's all. I could be wrong.
They own a lot of it. Yeah, they own a lot of it. They're a big company, and I'm pretty sure they are still involved with this restoration of the Uptown.
I can't believe they made it that far.
Said, it's gonna be concerts. It's gonna be comedy.
Is there actual construction there right now?
Not at the moment. Okay. Not at the moment. No. Everything's on hold over the last year or so, and they're still working on so much. Yeah. But it'll be exciting. Surprised. It'll be exciting to see that revitalized.
Yeah. Last time I checked, that it would just cost more money to renovate than they could ever make out of it. So I'm fascinated. That's like, I'm sorry to keep talking about it, and like I can't shut up about it because I just you happen to touch on one of those things. Like, oh, you live in Uptown and the Uptown Theater. Also, that's Andersonville, right? SNA Studios, like where Charlie Chaplin and William S. Hart and I think Mary Pickford started, was down the street pretty much down the street from where you live, which is very exciting.
Basically. Yeah, over right there on Clark Street. Big stretch of Clark Street that's got a lot of history to. I mean, the whole area has a lot of history to it, but you would never know because it's covered by interesting new businesses, new ventures, everything like that. It's cool, but this to put it in the title of a book, a great book called Flickering Empire.
Who wrote that?
It really was. So that was. I want to say Adam Seltzer and my friend Michael Glover Smith, who's a filmmaker. And Adam is kind of like a tour guide. He does like Mysterious Chicago. He's great. He's actually been on WGN radio with us many times. He's awesome, knows so much. And then Michael Smith, he's a fantastic filmmaker who I've been lucky to know through he just reached out when we were doing No Coast. I think he just reached out to us and said like, "Hey, will you watch my movie?" And I watched it, and I was like, "This is great. This is awesome." So it's a great book, Flickering Empire.
Flickering Empire by those guys. Yeah, if you live in Chicago, or Rogers Park, but mostly if you're a filmmaker in Chicago, you've heard the name Michael Glover Smith and Rendezvous in Chicago. Mercury is Mercury in retrograde is what I'm trying to say. But my lips, I can't.
They tingle.
You mentioned No Coast. Tell me about No Coast. What is this?
Oh man, No Coast Cinema. What to say?
A project.
Yeah, it was a project that I undertook with one of my closest friends, one of my best friends, Connor Cornelius. Right around, I think we started doing it somewhere in 2017. And my idea is that I had started working at WGN Radio, and I found out that under management at that time, they were kind of just letting people create podcasts to put up on their website just as like a form of digital content, so that they had it. And so I was like, well, what do I love more than anything? I was like, well, I love movies. I love movies more than anything. I'd tried to go down the music journalist route for a while, and I realized I'm like, oh, I'm not cool enough to be a music journalist. Like, I don't listen to cool enough music to be a music. I met some music journalists, and they were good people. Yeah, right.
In school, I took a journalism class, and the music kids, I was like, whoa, I'll just back off, man. I'll chill.
Yeah, they all think that they're friggin' Hunter S. Thompson. They just do the most drugs and Whereas
anyway, keep going. Yeah, keep
going. But whereas I found that movie people were really fun to talk to, if not less. They were just as arty, but they kind of were more geeky. It required a greater amount of technicality to be a good filmmaker and to be really into movies,
Sure.
So I kind of don't know how it happened. I could not tell you why I couldn't tell you why I called Connor. I couldn't tell you why I thought this was going to be a good idea. I really could not. But it just kind of happened. The earliest part of the process that I really remember was coming up with the name, funny enough. I was tossing around like Chicago Cinematheque, and I was like, that's the most pretentious ass name I've ever heard for a podcast. That sounds like that's the dumbest name for a podcast. So I was like, it's got to be something. I got to communicate that we're in Chicago and we're talking about movies. It's got to be, but in a serious way. It's tough to talk about movies in Chicago because you're constantly living underneath the shadow of two men, Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel. You can't do better than them, honestly. And there are many great film writers in this city, and they have to contend with the fact that they are just kind of going opposite of Siskel and Ebert, because you can't do the same thing that they did. You really can't. It's really not worth your time, because no matter what, people will always compare you, especially with so many people who live in the city that still remember Siskel and Ebert. being on TV every single week, doing at the movies, doing all that kind of stuff. They still remember them, and they're just going to be like, yeah, but you're no Siskel and Ebert here. So,
I mean, he has a movie theater across the street from the Chicago Theater called the Siskel, it's pervasive.
Yeah, you can't get out from underneath that shadow. So, I came up with the name NoCo Cinema. Connor liked it. I liked it well enough. And we said, what are we going to do with this? And we kind of decided very early on that we weren't going to review movies because, one, there's so many smarter, more well-spoken people out there to write and talk about movies in that sense, to review them, to critique them, because that's such an art in of itself. What we wanted to do was talk to the people who weren't getting talked to, because even though there was this nascent film scene happening in Chicago at the time, and really before we ever started talking about it on the mic, there were plenty of others who were covering it and being interested in it, but we just wanted to have our 2 cents on something that we thought was unique. And so we decided to make it more of an interview show and maybe talk about some overall trends of the industry, rather than trying to tell people this is good, this is bad. We said to ourselves that we have to get rid of these notions of good and bad, because really that's what plagues a lot of film discussion today, is that everything is either the greatest movie you've ever seen or the worst POS that's ever been put to celluloid.
Sure.
We wanted to find that ground where we're not talking about whether or not it's great cinema or, not great cinema. It's more just about, what is cinema? What drives a person to want to make a movie, whether it's super duper low budget and shot on an iPhone, or they've got Jamie Lee Curtis in the crew, on the cast, and they're working with some high level talent. Those people are all the same to me. They all have the same desire to do something. It's just how they're going to do it is going to vary wildly, and investigating that variation was really the idea.
Huh. And so the last time you did an episode, it was around the beginning of the pandemic, right?
Yes. Yeah, we did. Goodness. We maybe did something that February, I would say. And we used to record in the WGN studios, and 2 things happened. Was one, the company decided to kind of, slim down their digital content. And 2, the pandemic started happening. So I couldn't bring Connor into the studio, and rightfully so. They had to think about who their employees were and who was able to come into the studio. We're all in pretty close proximity generally.
Right.
I think the last big thing I had done was I myself had traveled out the previous October to Glens Falls, New York, to go to the Adirondack Film Festival. I went myself.
That's exciting.
It put me up in a hotel and everything like that. I just had to pay for my flights, and
nice.
I did.
That's around where me and Jack are from.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right around there.
It was crazy. I'd never been to that part of the country.
Beautiful,
and
right?
Yeah, beautiful, truly beautiful. I felt like I was walking through an episode of Gilmore Girls. I was like, look at how quaint this town is.
Yeah, there's some places where you can drive around the Adirondacks and it's just like cabins on lakes and little tiny. Oh my God, it's gorgeous.
Little tiny colonial towns. You think to yourself like, yeah, some guy shot a red coat here. That was the vibe I got from Glens Falls, New York. But they were kind enough to let me up there, and I went full guerrilla podcaster. Like, it was literally me, a little recording unit, and like one microphone that I would just talk to people on and just hold it up to them, and we would have these hour-long conversations. But once the pandemic hit, it just didn't really become feasible anymore. And there was the added side effect of there were no movies anymore. Movies were slowly just stopping to happen. Like, we all thought it was okay. 2 weeks, maybe a month, and this is all done. It's been a year now, over a year, and we're still in it. And I'm not trying to critique the fact that we're still in it because it's an evolving situation. That's not my meaning. What I mean is that we were so naive to think that we were going to be back to movie theaters and new stuff was going to be coming out. We'll just get James Bond like a month later, right? Fucking wrong, I mean, dude. Like, no, not even close.
You had left before it all happened. And I'll tell you, working the weekend of the pandemic, since that weekend, I've been likening it to Apollo 13, where it's one of those things where it's like, well, we know we're not getting to the moon. The question is now are we going to get home? And we're getting there, but boy, that's one of the main reasons why I started the show on YouTube, was just like people were, whose way Hillary says whose way, because me and Hillary is the general manager of the movie theater. She knows.
Oh my goodness.
I love you, Joni. I love you. That's me and Hillary were talking about, it's hard to go back there because it was just, it's watching everything implode in real time. It's fascinating now, but it was really, really terrifying because it's like each day it was something new, not knowing what would happen next. And I think A Quiet Place Part 2 was supposed to open the next week. And we just
that was a March opening.
Yeah. And so the last family show we did was Onward.
Jeez. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been a while. But so that's been the question now. And I guess I want to get back to No Coast, but let's inject a little current events in here. Sure. I saw something that said, it's a change.org that was like, help sign this petition so we can save the Cinerama Dome in ArcLight in LA. And I was just wondering, if people with all the money in the world don't want to save it, why should we? And what are your thoughts on that? Like, what's your thoughts on, ArcLight is a big, they came and left like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. What are your thoughts on the ArcLight situation?
So my thing about the ArcLight situation is the same way I feel about AMC or Regal or any really big theater company. They came up in a time where the multiplex model, the big multiplex model, was still viable. I grew up going to the multiplex. I went to the Showplace. I think it was 14 screens, like a Showplace 14 in Crystal Lake on Route 14. And I think it was, the company was Caristodes or something like that.
Caristodes,
yeah, which got bought by AMC over in Lake in the Hills, in Crystal Lake and / Algonquin, over in that area. Shout out. The multiplex model was still a thing. It was something that people would do, is that, going to this was how we watched movies in the late 90s, early 2000s, and prior to that as well. But really, the new millennium of multiplexes was just batshit. They had, you had every snack in the world. You had 40 screens showing God knows what. And afterwards you could go play Time Crisis 2 in the arcade. It was
you could.
Yes, you could. It was this mecca
Real recoil action. It was very, very important.
It was unbelievable.
And huge stadium seating too, because when we were coming up, the biggest theater in my hometown was the Cinema 9, which is now the Palace 9, which is 9 houses, right? And it's not there's a jaunt to it, but there isn't a rake to the floor, but there isn't an auditorium. And then I think Essex came, which is out of town, but the first auditorium seating in Vermont, which was Jack, I think that had to have been 2003 or something like that, 2001, right?
That's about right. Well, there was also the Majestic.
The Majestic came out when I was writing movie reviews.
Yeah, and that was
that was when we were seniors in high school.
That was certainly an upgrade from the Palace 9, but the Essex one was we are doing an IMAX now, so we're just sort of what's our gimmick,
So
basically.
it seems to be like, yeah, they especially the giant auditorium kind of thing. Definitely 2000s through like 2005 kind of a thing. But sorry, I wanted to.
It was a massive millennium excess. So when I see that these places are not able to stay open, it's that kind of rapid expansion. Like, yeah, of course you weren't going to stay open. You know, it was all predicated on the idea that there were still going to be, 15 new movies coming out like every week, basically. There was going to be just an infinite supply of movies. The death knell really started as, and I'm not the first to say this, started with the idea of in-home streaming. And once Netflix and other companies like it started producing their own content, where those movies that would have probably been shoveled into theaters at some point in 1998 are now just at home, and that took and all the stuff that would have been direct to video, there's so many, especially horror fans, pine for the days of the direct to video market. Now those direct to video ones, guess what? You don't even have to go to the friggin' store to rent them. They're just at your house. You can just watch them. They're just there. So that was going to be the slow death of the multiplex. But then this just came along and took a lead pipe to the back of the head of these massive movie companies that were entirely overselling their business. Let's be honest here. They were way overselling what you were getting from going to the multiplex. But that does not mean I don't believe or think that the theatrical experience is going to continue. My thing is that probably a company like a Netflix is going to buy the Cinerama Dome. I don't think they're going to try to avoid the vertical integration thing. They're going to show multiple movies there, but Netflix will effectively own it, whether through a shell corporation or something. I don't know. I'm not really a finance guy, but they bought the Chinese theater. They own that, and if they use it as a location to just premiere new Netflix movies in addition to whatever, then it'll keep going.
Netflix bought the Chinese theater.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm out of the loop. That's true. I know that Disney's always owned the Egyptian across the street, I think.
Yeah. But I mean, just another example that Disney can just buy this theater and just keep it going and use it for. I mean, no one was regularly going to see movies at Grauman's Chinese Theater anyway.
Right.
Like that was only for premieres. It's only for prestige. And they'll probably do the same thing to the Cinerama Dome. They'll just make it a location. They'll just make it a place to do premieres. They'll make it a place that they can upkeep and keep it part of LA's kind of visual infrastructure. But at the end of the day, I really believe that the only theaters that are going to survive truly are the ones that are able to operate within their means. And that's going to be stuff like the Music Box. Which is a fantastically run theater. And, that was really, that and places like the 400 or the Davis or the Logan. That's who I was worried about, because those are small staffs that work within a pretty reasonable margin generally. And they have their neighborhood niche. The Music Box is, I literally don't know of another theater in Chicago that is competing with the Music Box when it comes to repertory screenings, specialty screenings, having filmmakers show up, art house, late night horror. They do it all. It's all the stuff that people remember from back in the day in a single theater.
And shout out to them too, because they managed to keep it going through the pandemic. They never stopped. And they've worked really hard. I know a lot of sacrifices were made, and that can never be undersold. But then we turn to stuff like the Davis or the new 400 or the Logan, which is showing first run movies. But it's a reasonably sized theater. Let's talk about the Davis here for an example. They're right over there for me. They're over in Lincoln Square. Did some great renovations that really revitalized the whole space. And but it's still only maybe 3 houses, I think, maybe 4. I think it started as 4 and then they made a big one, right?
They might
they turned it into 3. I actually never went after the renovation.
It's great. They're
lovely
people. Really great. Yeah, they do a great job, and then they turned part of it into a bar slash. It's not. I don't know if restaurant, but it's a bar where you can sit down, get a bite to eat. They made it a whole experience, so they were really smart to do that. To realize that the theatrical experience extends outside the actual movie. And they understand that it's dinner in a movie, it's drinks in a movie, or a movie and drink, whatever order you want to do that in. And Lincoln Square is a great place where you're going to keep the night going after the movie. The movie's just a component of the night, not the whole night. It just kind of gives you something to entertain you for like 2 hours and gives you something to talk about at the end of the night.
Sure.
So I think those theaters are the ones that we need to pay attention to. Honestly, and the CEO of look at that, it's great. I saw Us in that theater. That was the exact theater that I saw Us in, and it was a really great experience. But
their management is so nice. I hung out with their management a little while, for a little while, a couple years back, and they were just couldn't have been nicer.
So kind. But at the end of the day, and you know what? CEO of AMC at me, there it is right on the screen. CEO of AMC. Let's have a conversation. I don't care what happens to this massive conglomerate corporation that has done nothing to really enhance the movie-going experience or diversify it in any way. You can put a Dolby Cinema in the theater. That's fine. That's really cool. I've paid for Dolby Cinema. It's a great experience. You can put an IMAX in there. It's a cool experience.
Right.
You're not diversifying what you're doing. You're still just showing whatever the newest movies are. You're not trying to do special programming. You're not trying to do anything that's community engagement. You're not trying to do anything like midnight grindhouse stuff for that niche audience. Bring in these different audiences of people. Especially the community engagement is incredibly important, because that will keep people coming to your business much longer than your business is probably viable. Let's be honest here. The fact that our theater the Alderman, right? He bought out all the movie houses, rented the entire theater, and everybody saw Black Panther for free.
Yep.
How great is that? How awesome is that? How much of that is a vote of confidence in local business? Yeah, it was a huge night. It was amazing. It was really special to be there. So, if some big publicly traded company goes down and something much more community oriented and interesting and idiosyncratic pops up in its stead, cool. I'm cool with that. I'm super cool.
Funny how we've made a full circle with that. I think about that when I think of Barnes and Noble and Toys R Us and stuff like that. I've been watching, you don't know this, but I've been watching a lot of Simpsons lately on Disney Plus. And it's interesting watching the Simpsons because over the course of 30 years, they reflect technology and they reflect society over 30 years. So, but they don't age. So it's this thing where it's like, now Homer's always on his smartphone, like when he's bored with something,
Yeah.
But I'm watching these episodes from 2003 where they're going to Virgin Megastores and wow, this brand new Virgin Megastore, and it's you can listen to music like this and da 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 da. And I'm like, man, it's amazing how quickly all this stuff left as fast as it came, because where Jack and I are from, there's a town called Williston, which you just go down the street or you go down the interstate from Burlington, and it is just box store after box store. When they were building Toys R Us, Bed Bath & Beyond, the Walmart is down there. Also the Majestic, actually. They built it out. Dick's Sporting Goods and all that. So it's just interesting to see. I remember when that came in and how distraught a lot of people were, especially someplace like Vermont where billboards are illegal. You know what I mean? Like, you're not allowed to.
Are they real? Wait, hold on. You can't have billboards 100%. In Vermont?
Nope. You can't build a building taller than a certain story, like it's 8 stories or something like that. You cannot. It's beautification. You're not allowed to fuck with it.
Wow, big ups to Vermont,
dude. All the Vermont pride. I got all the Vermont pride. Just trying not to talk about how we almost conquered Montreal.
That's a whole other show.
Don't get me started on Ethan Allen.
Vermont. Oh.
It's a beautiful thing. We are our own country. It's so interesting to see how. Then you see how like Prime or Amazon is kind of killing Target. Well, maybe Target's not a good example, but killing Toys R Us, right? And Toys R Us killed the mom and pop toy store, or it killed what? It killed KB Toys, and KB Toys killed the mom and pop store, kind of a thing. And now the internet is coming, and I just think it's interesting how movie theaters refuse to acknowledge that. Like the dominoes were set, the patterns were there. Hillary can tell you, you can tell everyone. I mean, when you work at a movie theater long enough, certain patterns become really apparent. And like, you can tell by the Friday night audience how the movie's going to do over the weekend, you know, and for these CEOs to just kind of like, no, we're fine, man. Let's build more arc lights. It's good. Let's just put in all the money.
And let me be completely clear here, and I apologize for the language I'm going to use. Jake's mom, sorry, I'm really sorry, but ArcLight theaters are dog shit, dude. Especially the one here in Chicago. Are you kidding me? I saw Blade Runner. I was so excited to see Blade Runner 2049.
I remember because you wouldn't watch it with us.
Well, yeah, I was like, I can't. I was like, I don't want to hear. I was like Luke wanting to watch Justice League. I was like, I can't hear the Descent. I can't.
This is a 3-hour movie, and I need to listen to it.
I need to be here for it. And I was still working overnights at that point. Right. So I had worked until 5 o'clock in the morning, and I still got up and went to like an 11 a.m. screening of Blade Runner at the ArcLight. And I was like, well, I better go to the ArcLight. I'm sorry, Gigi. I was like, I have to go to the ArcLight because it'll have good sound and all this kind of stuff. Right. And I was so underwhelmed by this theater. I was so deeply underwhelmed, and I paid like $15 for a matinee. Matinee? Yeah. Come on. You know, that's it. You know, I couldn't take it anymore. I said to myself that there is no theatrical experience that's going to stack up to being in a theater where people want to be there. They want to actually be there. They want to actually watch the movie. I don't care if it's got Dolby friggin' 10.1 and 100K of picture quality. Right. If people want to see the movie and they want to be there, it's going to be 100% better than any $25 ticket in town.
And you saw, you worked Get Out as well. And Get Out was one of those movies where,
oh my God,
we played it in theater 4. And if it was a full theater, which it was for the first 3 weeks, and we were sitting in the manager's office, you could feel the manager's office shake from the applause and cheering from the theater. The only other thing I can think of is the Avengers movies where, you know, Cap catches the fucking, sorry, Mom, catches the hammer and just it shakes the room. Those are the beautiful cinema moments. But I agree. Speaking of Mom, I house sat some Glendale. Glendale, is that a suburb? That's a suburb, right? Glendale.
Of Illinois or where?
Yeah, Illinois. There's no other Glendale.
I think so. Who knows?
No, I think there's very much a Glendale in California. Glendale, Illinois, yeah, it's a suburb. And we went to check out. I think we walked to the ArcLight just to see, and no. Actually, maybe that's where we saw Imitation Game. Tom, Imitation Game. But you know what the thing is? That was one where it was like, finally, we're in Glendale. We spent $100 on tickets and popcorn. I think, nice, Jack. I think, and then we sat down to watch the movie, and I'm like, cool, we spent all the money. It'll be quiet. It'll be a very nice experience. And then there were people talking and kicking my seat the whole movie. And I was like, it doesn't even matter. It just doesn't even matter.
It doesn't matter. You know, I'll throw this out there just to put not to put too fine a point on it. I think when I die and I recount my favorite film going experiences, I was lucky enough through No Coast to be allowed to. I got a free press pass to the Chicago Critics Film Festival. Great film festival. Eric Childress, I think Steve Prokopi and Pete Subchinsky and so many other people put on a great film festival. But they did an anniversary screening of Jurassic Park on 35. Now, that came out the year I was born. It actually came out a few months before I was born. And I think it was like June 1993 or something like that.
Comet.
So it basically, yeah. I was, born too late to ever get to see it in theaters, to ever get to see it in its original form. And I've been obsessed with Jurassic Park for years, obsessed with it. And they showed it on 35 millimeter in a packed house. There were people with their kids there. The kids were so psyched. They're watching it. And they were kind of talking through some of it. I so didn't care because they wanted to be there. And I'll be real with you. I started tearing up. I was like, I'm getting to watch this movie that I love so much with kids that I wish I could have been at that age. I wish I could have seen this for the first time, not on VHS tape. I wish I could have seen it like this when I was, 9 years old and really get it. And these were kids that grew up with Jurassic World being a thing, which is a terrible movie. A terrible, terrible movie.
It's just poorly done Jurassic Park.
It really is. It's just crappier Jurassic Park. But at the end of the day, I wish, I thought to myself, man, I get to be in the presence of not only a movie that I love, but people that are watching it purely for the love of the game. And people talked and cheered and did stuff like that, but it was okay then. It was okay because we were having an experience together, and that's what I love the most about movies. And as very much romantic. Very romantic idea of the movies. As much as I love being able to sit down at home in quiet with my headphones on, watching a movie on my TV, no one bothering me, I do miss the experience of getting to be with people who are laughing or cheering or even crying along with what they're seeing on a screen.
Yeah. My favorite, I have two, but the one I'll tell you is the first time I lived in the only time I lived in Los Angeles, but I lived there in 2009 or something like that. Someone took me to surprise me to go see the midnight show of Neverending Story at the New Beverly.
Wow.
On 35. And there were kids in the audience, and they and the kid by the end was going, yeah, by the end of the movie, and the entire audience was just there for it. We were
That's
all
what it's
there
all about.
for it. It's I love that kind of stuff. I agree with you. That's why I think ultimately the romance of it all keeps the theaters alive. Like if you're there to make the money, then you're there to make the money. But the fact is that there is this very real thing about going to the movies. Let's
be romantic about life once we start to come out of this last year or so. And I know it's going to be slow. It's going to be so slow, and it's okay that it's slow, because I'd rather be measured than winding up in a situation where it's like, okay, now we're back on lockdown or something like that. I'd rather just take it slow, but let's be romantic about life. Let's be romantic about the movies, because that's what keeps the whole thing going, is us having this dumb, sometimes it hurts to have this kind of relationship with the movies. It can hurt you, because then you get cynical. It's like, can I ever feel this way again? But then luckily a new movie luckily a new movie always comes along that reminds you that, like, yes, this medium can make you feel something. It can make you feel something that nothing else can make you feel.
I totally agree. Jack.
Yes.
Oh, man, I can't believe we've been talking for as long as we have. I could talk to Tom for 4 hours, man.
This has been great. I've just been writing down a bunch of stuff without ever actually ending on a question, because a lot of the times you guys have been wrapping up a lot of things. I'm like, but what about? Yeah.
Do you have a romantic movie going experience?
A romantic movie-going experience. Probably. Yeah. Yeah.
Southland Tales on my birthday with Zook in Zook's living room.
Shit.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Oh well.
Tom, I fell asleep during this movie and made everyone finish it.
So
while I was asleep.
Here's the full story, and to answer the long story short, yes, I do have a romantic movie-going experience, and it does tie in with what you're describing. So we did go to the movies on your birthday. We went to the movie theater, and do you know what we saw?
Other Guys?
Yes, we saw The Other Guys.
That was a great birthday.
And that was a great birthday. That was really a wonderful experience. There was,
I'm glad you were there.
We were there, and it was just the right group of people seeing the right movie that we all just really got and clicked with, and that is a very magical thing. And it's getting to experience that and share it. So then later on.
It was my birthday.
It was your birthday, and you wanted to watch Southland Tales. And that movie's a mess. I mean, that movie's a royal mess, and it's a long, long movie too.
Yes.
And you just kept like passing out, but you were never really asleep. Every time we'd be like, "Oh shit, I think Jake's passed out. We can get up and turn off this movie." You'd like turn over and be like, "Not yet." So you really like pulled the rug out from under us on that one with that movie. But
Fiona being very, very angry.
Oh, she was displeased. But I that's a movie that really sticks with me and resonates with me a lot for so many reasons. One, just because of, I mean, the thing that's for me that is wonderful about that movie and how bad it is that every single person in that movie seems to be on a completely different page. Like no two people got the same message from the director of what was happening in that film.
Yeah.
And I had a very similar experience about 6 months ago when I saw Zardoz. And
understandable.
And it was.
I still haven't made it down that path.
Oh my god!
The gun is good. The penis is evil.
and I had just recently finished making my music video, and that just took me 4 years to make because of a lot of my own lethargy. But watching a movie like Southland Tales and Zardoz just makes me go, man, it's amazing that any movie gets made.
I know, right?
And these two train wrecks got made. So.
The last time I felt that Southland Tales thing where I was like, this is a mess, but this is my beautiful mess. And I think I love this, honestly, Under the Silver Lake.
Yeah.
And that's why I told you about that. Like, have you seen that one?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is...
It keeps coming up in conversation. It's... I have some...
it sticks with you.
It sticks, but it's so messy, but also like too personal not to see all the things that are happening in that movie.
Yeah.
I will take a flawed personal masterpiece over something that is much more put together, because I just want personality. It's the same reason that even though against my better judgment, I probably shouldn't like Kevin Smith as much as I do. Sorry, Luke. I probably shouldn't, but the guy makes really personal, at least early period. We'll have that conversation some other day. But he makes such intensely personal stuff early on in his career that I can't hate it. I really can't. Even with something like Tusk, I can't hate Tusk. Because you know what? It's so intensely personal that for every flaw it possesses, I'm willing to look over it because it's creative.
Yeah.
And
I'll give him yoga hosers, man. I'll even give him yoga hosers as far as a personal. That was personal for him. There's so many things to say about it, but that is a personal film, and I've never quite seen a personal film like Yoga Hosers.
Yeah.
Do I want to? Again?
Do you want it?
It's besides the point.
The best comparison I can make is, especially because it's these are two movies that are adapted from the same source material, and I just rewatched one of them today. It's the difference between Manhunter and Red Dragon.
Understood.
Manhunter is pure Michael Mann for all his flaws. I don't think it's a
Right.
perfect movie. I don't think any Michael Mann movie is perfect. Even something as great as Heat or Collateral, or Miami Vice.
I can't make it
it's
through Miami Vice. I know people
I guess
love
sometimes
that.
you have
Come
to
on.
sift through the weeds to get to the good stuff.
It's a
Yeah,
great
listen,
nap
man. I'm a
movie.
fiend.
Oh
I'm
my
a
God,
fiend
it's
for
so
mojitos. But it's the difference between Michael Mann, who is a really poetic guy, for being this guy from Chicago, pretty rough and tumble dude. He makes some pretty rough and tumble movies. He's very poetic, and he loves expressionism, and he loves all this weird stuff. And then there's Brett Ratner. There's Brett Ratner making Red Dragon, and it's terrible. It's so puerile. It's so neutered, and honestly, I don't even think Anthony Hopkins is not the best Hannibal Lecter. He's not. He's the most iconic, but he's not the best Hannibal Lecter.
Are you a Mads boy or are you a Cox boy?
I'm a Mads boy.
I liked Red
Cox-
Dragon.
I saw Red Dragon.
I'm sorry.
4
I
times.
don't know what to tell you.
You don't have to apologize. You didn't make that movie.
Hold up, but
No.
I didn't make
but
that
like-
movie. Neither of us made it. You don't have to say you're sorry.
But Jack, have you seen Manhunter?
I have not. I have
Give it
not.
a
I've
try.
wanted to.
All
All right, yeah.
give it a shot. It's
Is there a
really fascinating.
in Manhunter, is there a scene in Manhunter where they glue Philip Seymour Hoffman to a wheelchair and make him watch a PowerPoint presentation?
Do you see? Do you see?
Do you see? Oh God, no!
No,
oh.
I'll do you one better.
Oh, please,
Yeah.
no, please.
I'll do you
My
one
favorite.
better. There's a scene where they tape Stephen Lang to a
Okay.
chair
All right.
and make him watch it, and then set him on fire later. Stephen
God,
Lang.
Madison and Luke.
The
I
fucking
like
guy
the,
from
the Ray Fiennes
Avatar.
interpretation
Is-
in the scene with Philip Seymour Hoffman. That was disturbing enough.
Oh, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want. No.
Also,
No,
well
it's-
done
it's
in a
true.
South Park interpretation.
Yeah.
Do you see?
Yes, I
Do you
see. It's so boring.
I'm so bored. We have so many people that we know watching. How's it going, Madison and Luke? It's a movie theater reunion. That's what's going on right now.
Oh,
Everybody.
did Luke hear it about
Oh wait,
Kevin
Luke's here.
Smith?
Hang on.
Luke just said something about a mushroom puppy.
Oh boy,
Mushroom
not the
puppy.
mushroom puppy.
I think the mushroom
Back of
puppy
the
is.
throat.
Oh, Luke's back. Oh.
There you go.
That's beautiful.
Why did you say that name?
Oh my goodness, that has been the meme that we've been passing around. Is Ben Affleck stepping on Superman's neck, and he goes, "Croce."
Jim
Yeah, I saw
Why
the
would you
face.
say that name?
Now, yeah, I am in favor of the Croce biopic. By the way, I do want to make that clear.
Oh, good.
I've been
Croce, yes.
I've been waiting for that. Yeah.
We're working on it.
So we're gonna make that, right?
It's in. Oh, did you see this?
Oh, that-
Jesus Christ! It's
Yes.
it's not about.
you're welcome.
Yeah, man, we'll keep it going. I want to keep. We're going to keep it alive. Actually, Luke and I were talking a lot about it. Surprisingly,
I do have another question tying it back to the discussion about cinema and grand scale cinema and multiplexes. How do you kind of split the difference? Because I am very much in favor of operating within one's means, but it seems like there's always, just CEOs who don't give a shit and trying to up each other and end up repeating this pattern and go, well, okay, we've overshot our wad, so to speak. So what other gimmicks can we rely on? And then it's just sort of backtracking to the very thing that we've been unpacking today.
Yeah.
And sometimes the gimmick is something like, I'm older 35 millimeter prints, but then it just sometimes feels like they're selling nostalgia, which, is great. I'm all on board for going to see the Jurassic Park 35, and Jurassic World is a shit movie.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah. I'll say this. I'd rather have them sell me nostalgia than try to sell me a bunch of BS that's not really going to improve my cinema experience. These CEOs love, these are guys that love to expound on the necessity of the free market and things like that. Let them live and die by it then. Like if they want to balloon their business to a point where it's literally unsustainable, where it's like you've got 23 screens.
Yeah.
I mean, what place is going to be showing 23 movies that enough people want to see, unless they're doing specialty stuff, unless they're doing, something that is more attention grabbing than just like, yeah, here's the new Fast 9. Now, they're not saying that I'm not fully torqued for Fast 9.
They're going into space. They will be.
They're going into space. They're sending.
I cannot wait.
They are sending.
No, but they're really going into
space.
But they're actually going into space.
Fantastic.
It's not CG. It's not. They're going into space.
Yeah.
I will say that
they put
as
Vin
far
Diesel
as,
up on the plane that can
with
go
John
in the
Cena,
stratosphere.
baby. We used to do really cute stuff at the theater, and I think that's kind of the difference too between like independent businesses doing cute events, some of which were not successful, some of which were rather successful. We got pretty good with our premieres. People started to figure out why they should come to our theater first. And what it is that we had to offer.
Oh God!
Please put this up.
Yes.
How about rain inside?
That's like a Derek Zoolander response. They're in the computer?
Do you want to know why people came back to our theater for the 4-dimensional experience? If they were watching
the rain
you could time travel
Storm
and go back to the moment before you entered the theater and then re-experience it
We're
with
gonna have
yourself.
to have phones just in the corner, just like just sitting there to comment on things.
So, but it's just that very thing, the too big to fail kind of a thing, and then they decide, well, let's bankrupt ourselves, and the hubris of it all, and that's kind of what it boils down to. Just
all it is. Yeah, that's all it ever is because we allow it to happen. I mean, we allow it to happen. It's probably going to continue to happen. Once things go back to normal, I'm sure they're going to find a way to generate enough capital to keep stuff like AMC River East here in Chicago, down there on Illinois Street. They're going to keep that going. They're going to keep Webster Place going. They're just going to keep these multiplexes going, and then we're just going to wonder. We're going to wonder where all these tax breaks went to. We're going to be like, hey, how did they get all these weird tax breaks? How do they get all this money? These massive multi-million-dollar companies get all this money, and then we're just going to kind of do the whole thing again. We're going to do it again
with every company, and it ties in also with the Toys R Us and with the Barnes and Nobles as well.
The other thing to keep in mind is. Oh, no, I had it. I'm so sorry. The other thing to keep in mind about all this, Jack, when it comes to this. Oh, no. I lost it. Keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt. That just totally happened. Would you like to know more about Jake totally spacing out live on the internet?
Here, let's do this nice little banner that way.
Oh, hey, yeah, everyone should check out No Coast. No Coast is the whole archive is up there, right?
Yeah, I believe you can still find it on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, rather. I'll say this much: there's a very real chance it will return, but not necessarily in a solely cinema focused form. It's one of those things where we have to evolve with the times. We all have to evolve with the times, and we'll see where things happen. The fact that things are starting to open up again, and the amount of money I've spent on fucking boutique Blu-rays over the last year. I've got shit that no one has seen since like 1975. I swear to God.
On Blu-ray.
Yeah, on Blu-ray. Like, you ever heard of Mahakal?
I can't say I have. No.
It is the Bollywood ripoff of A Nightmare on Elm Street, and it's fucking fantastic. It's so good.
Great.
It's A Nightmare on Elm Street, but with like amazing dancing. incredible dancing and songs, like, but have really nothing to do with the overall plot. They're like, they go to have a picnic, minimum 5-minute dance sequence. It's Grease meets A Nightmare on Elm Street.
I'll have to check that
Fantastic.
out.
But that's I mean, it's neither here nor there.
Well,
Sorry.
then that's why
But,
these multiplexes are failing, because they're not showing these
Yeah.
movies.
I do remember what
We
I was
used to
going to
get
say, and
calls
just so
of
that
the-
I'm not. Sorry. Oh,
No,
I just
go
wanted
ahead.
to
Go,
say
do it.
before I forget again that the reason why these multiplexes did so well is because they sold real estate. They're huge buildings, and they would sell real estate to Starbucks. They'd sell real estate to Lucky Strike. Like, they own the building, and then like the bowling alley comes in and pays them. So I think that's going to have something to do with how things reopen as well. Like, they were able to make things so big because the actual money wasn't necessarily coming from popcorn. It was coming from Starbucks.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I just wanted to
As long as I can walk
that's
into
a really good tie-in. I'm glad
multiplex,
you mentioned that.
I want to walk into a multiplex and get a fucking Subway. Like, that's all I want. You know,
Soon
I
enough,
want to have
man. Food court.
a full foot long when I
KFC.
watch Justice League 2, the Snyder Cut.
I mean, oh my God. As long as you don't have to sneak it in, because when people would sneak in that food to the theater, cleaning up burrito is so gross. Cleaning up
terrible.
banana peel is so gross. You put your orange peel, well, that's not as bad, but banana peel in the cup holder is so gross. Come on, guys.
Classic.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I think
foul.
what was Jake? What was the worst thing you ever had to clean up? What was the worst thing you ever actually?
Oh my, well, pee and vomit and a poop. I picked up a poop from the ground.
You picked up a full poop?
It was okay.
An unbroken turd?
It was so funny, and I'm gonna throw him under the bus. True, Luke. True. I'll throw Sultan under the bus because I don't care. It was right before a family show, and I watched Sultan go in and come out, and then I walked in, and there was a full turd on the ground, just on the ground. Good night, Mom. Thanks for coming. And I did whatever, cleaned it up, threw it away, and I was like, Sultan, that could only mean one of two things, right? Either you walked in there and pooped on the ground and left, or you walked in there, saw the poop, said nah, and left. He was like, yeah, I saw that. I'm not going to do that.
I mean, fair enough.
But the guy who
Sultan,
shit in the
fair
trash
enough.
can was pretty bad too.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, there's like stories and stories.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure Luke saw two people getting down. They were the
Copulating?
beast with two backs. Yeah,
That was,
right in the back.
What was the
and
movie that they were copulating to?
Something in theater 2.
God,
no, it was in theater
yeah.
3, right?
It was in theater
Madison
3.
Found some people because it was in the back area. The funniest for me was ew, put that up, Jack. Put
If
up
you say
Bones.
so.
Yeah.
This is becoming foul. Let's.
No, but oh my God.
I liked the part when you said that Jurassic Park was Thomas Haley's Comet. And Jake, would you like to know what our Haley's Comet is? Because we were born in the same year.
What is it?
Spaceballs.
May the Schwartz be with you.
Honestly,
Merchandising.
The funniest thing I ever saw though was Nate caught two people in the ladies' room. Someone was going down on someone else, and Nate just saw the knees and yelled, "Hey man, it's not that kind of situation!" Slammed the door and came out.
oh boy.
That's one of my
wow.
favorite lines. Ain't that kind of situation here.
Yeah. By the way, Jake, I wanted to they just did a great Blu-ray edition of Southland Tales, Arrow Video. Do you know Arrow Video?
Yeah, I heard about the director's cut of it, and I haven't watched it yet. I'm dying to.
Yeah.
Like,
Can hardly
dying
wait.
to. And I mean, listen,
Yeah, Jack.
Jack, we're going to do a
Forward
watch
to-
party. I'm forcing you to watch it with me.
You're gonna have to come to New York and abduct me, but I also wouldn't put it past you to do that.
I'm going to come. I have so much family in New York. I'm going to come get you. We're going to watch Southland Tales together.
I will find you.
I was trying to find my keys. Oh, Madison. Did you see that one?
Later, two lady says, oh. That wasn't what I meant to click, but here.
Luke, what can you buy autographed
I,
at
I don't-
jayandsilentbob.com?
what is? I
People
don't
dirty
understand.
tampons?
Oh.
What are you talking about?
But Madison says, Theater 2 Lady says, "Oh, I was trying to find my keys."
I mean, people
Oh,
would
yeah.
pee and poop. The worst though, I mean, that was bad and everything, but I would just hate when people would be like, have a burrito like under their armpit. And I'd be like, you cannot bring
I'm heating it up.
signed Southland Tales by Kevin Smith. Luke, save me one of those. Oh,
why
my
would
God.
why would I want to? Is he in it?
Yes.
It's
Oh, I've never
that's a
actually
fair
watched
question. That's a fair question because there are so many people in that movie, and so much of that movie is very forgettable.
Yeah, he's in
Yeah,
3 minutes of it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't
It's-
look like himself. It's great.
Yeah, and you could say that about everyone in that movie. I think that I only really remember Sherry O'Terry being there.
Listen, John
my
Lovitz
God.
is at his peak. Sean
And-
William Scott is at his peak.
And Justin Timberlake doing that fantastic music video of the Killers song. All these things that I've done.
Yeah.
Things get real. Things get
Yeah,
real.
it's a really good that's a good sequence in an otherwise 2.5 hour train wreck.
But listen, we've been all this talk of Zack Snyder.
We
The
talk about it.
2.5 hour version of BVS couldn't choke it down. The 3 hour version of BVS, I was delighted. So
You're right. Maybe if he just had more time to tell his story, then it would still
Jack,
come
why
out.
do you sound like that? Why do you not sound serious about this? Maybe if he had more time to tell his story, then it would come out better.
Yeah. What I need is a real Ken Burns length documentary. Like, give me a 12-hour fucking Justice League to finally really get to the nitty gritty of what we're talking about.
Give me
Give me
a
some-
4
give me
hour
You don't understand my
R-rated
vision.
4:3 black and white Batman movie, please.
All right, final thoughts, things to look for this week,
Oh,
things to
my
watch.
gosh. Diamond Absolutes. Things to watch. That's good. You know, it's funny you brought up Will Ferrell. I just watched Eurovision for the first time. I can't recommend that enough. Great music. Great music.
Yeah, ding dong.
Yeah, ding dong. You're a big ding dong fan.
I mean,
Tomo.
I'm familiar with the Gunter video.
And also I bought several Will Ferrell movies on DVD. Tom, what do you got? What do you got on your queue?
Oh, what am I going to be watching this weekend? Going to watch the Clint Eastwood classic High Plains Drifter, and then I'm going to jump into a box set of Shinya Tsukamoto, who's probably best known for doing a movie called Tetsuo the Iron Man.
Gotcha.
But he's got a bunch of really interesting stuff. There's a new box set that got put out by him called Solid Metal Nightmares, and I'm going to be really interested to dig into him.
Nice. Tom, do you know when Shin Ultraman comes out?
Oh my god, I don't, but I'm fully friggin' hyped. Like,
Yeah, me
Hideki
too.
Anno cannot be stopped. Shin Godzilla is the best Godzilla movie since the original Godzilla movie.
It's a
It's
fun
so
movie.
good.
We were just
it's
rewatching San Andreas and thinking about San Andreas versus Shin Godzilla is like the difference between how Americans handle disaster movies and how Japanese people handle
Yeah, it's
disaster
totally
movies.
different.
So interesting.
Also, Godzilla versus Kong, 3 out of 5. I enjoyed it. You know, not going to change anybody's life, but really fun. So
When I first met Tom, he said, I'm a big monkey man. I watch your monkey movies. We did Planet of the Apes films and Kong Skull Island. I just remember Tom being a big monkey movie man. So I'm excited to hear.
give me the big reject modernity, return to monkey.
Jack, what do you got going on, my sweet?
I
sweet
am a little bit behind on my films lately, but I have really been enjoying watching Ozark season 3. I'm wrapped up right in the middle of it. That is a fantastic cast. There is not a weak link in the bunch. And
Nice.
it is just a gripping series.
That's all I've been hearing. Everyone, is it still going?
It is still
done?
going. I think they filmed the 4th season, but I'm not certain of that. According to the sources, it's supposed to be released this year. But
You'll
beyond
let
that,
me know if they stick the landing, okay?
I'll let you know.
Because it's like I have to wait till the end.
Yeah. Oh, do you?
Or Lost and Game of Thrones.
I see.
Did we lose
All right.
Tom?
We may have lost Tom. just as we were wrapping up. Oh, well, hopefully he will come back. Let's give him a moment. Any final thoughts? If you enjoyed the show, you can like us, subscribe to the channel, go to jellyrollchicago.com, click on the links, like the likes, share, subscribe, and if you want to give us a support, you can find us on Venmo.
I'm also trying to figure out this Patreon thing. So if you know how to do Patreon, anyone, let me know. It's $5 a month and we can do watch parties together. But you know what? The people that are watching this right now are my friends. And if you guys want to do watch parties with me, I'll probably do it for free. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I sure hope Tom comes back.
I hope so too.
Love you, Bones. Very much. Can we put up that diamond, Luke Taylor's Diamond Absolutes?
Yes.
Thank you. I used to think the world was Diamond Absolutes, and then it turned out that Superman had a mother, and her name shared my mother's name. How can someone be bad if my enemy has a mom, and his mom's name is my mom's name?
Oh, you found your kitty cat.
I did. This is Tigger.
Nice.
Hey, Tigger.
He's 15 pounds. He's so big.
Big boy.
Hey,
well, we're glad you made it back, but we were wrapping up and doing the goodbyes, so we're glad that you got to have the kitty cat.
Yes.
Really has had his screen time.
There you go.
Tom, I didn't get to half the stuff I wanted to talk to you about. Will you come back? Will you come back?
I will come back. I will come back literally whenever you want. You just tell me when, and thanks, I will talk to you about many different things, including my thoughts on why physical media is still the future.
I really wanted to get to that, and it's just amazing how fast time goes. Where can we hear you right now? What you working on? What's your deal?
Oh my goodness. So as of right now, you can just catch me on the AM radio dial if you're here in Chicago, 720 on the AM dial, or on WGNradio.com, 7 to 10 p.m. You can hear the John Landecker show. If you are from Chicago, the name John Landecker means a lot to you. Even if you like television, his daughter, Amy Landecker, you probably know from what was it? Transparent. She was on Transparent, Serious Man. But this is her dad, and he's a really cool guy. He's very funny, so you can probably hear me chatting with him every once in a while on that show. But for now, you can follow me at Mount Hushmore on Instagram, where sometimes I put up photos, sometimes I don't. It's up to you. It's up to how I'm feeling that day. But you never know. NoCo Cinema may come back, but if you want to listen to the archive, it's all on Apple Podcasts. Go listen to some of those interviews because they're really evergreen conversations about cinema. That's really all they are.
They block canals? No?
Yeah.
No?
Was that the Evergreen? I thought, was that the Evergreen or Ever? I thought it had a different name. But yeah, they blocked the suicide.
Oh, no. It was both.
Evergiven. Yeah, it was the Evergiven.
One is the name,
trying to end on
the company that owns the... Oh man,
dude, you tried to dunk. You tried to Space Jam, but you didn't.
This is like the last Final Destination movie when I cracked my neck jumping off.
Well, let's end it there. Until next week, thank you so much, Tom Hush, for joining us.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Jack, thanks as always. You're the best. And
you are.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
I just think they're neat. Kids, turn off the TV. Always with the smooth talk. Your Uncle Arthur used to have a saying. Shoot them all and let God sort them out. I just think they're neat. Honey, you should listen to your heart and not the voices in your head. Like a certain uncle did one gray December morn. At times like this, I guess all you can do is laugh. Now let's forget our troubles with a big bowl of strawberry ice cream. I just think they're neat.